No,
I
I
can
don't
do
know.
other impressions, but not Al Pacino. No, and let's not do that like in this right now.
Kincaid, welcome to the stage. We're going to hear from you right now. How's your Al Pacino?
Not great. And it's 7 a.m. for me, so I'll hold back on the impressions this morning.
Excellent. All right. Good stuff. Well, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So yeah, appreciate you guys having me here today. Kincaid Day here at Welocalize. And what I'm going to be talking about today is the new localization stack. So orchestrating AI for cost, quality, and risk all at once. And what that really means is what is the market demanding? What are our customers asking for? And how are we kind of optimizing this at scale? So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So as we know, with the introduction of LLMs over the past handful of years, we've seen a big shift, obviously, with our customers, me on the LSP side, and those folks that have a local responsibility within an organization. They're asked to do more with less, very common theme, i.e., create more content at scale. They also need to be able to prioritize pipelines. And what I mean by that is with the introduction of AI, you're also seeing an introduction of like, hey, let's just introduce, an open AI solution, a Copilot solution, just have people use it as a neural MT, if you will. But then how do we manage budget, right? Like how can you manage and control those insights to ensure that your IT department's not going to get a $500,000 bill after 6 months because there's 500 people submitting content every day? And then most importantly, how do we justify that spend? Go ahead and go to the next slide. And the simple answer is there isn't a low tech stack that accounts for all of these things. Traditional systems, if you will, were solving traditional problems, and with the introduction of AI, we're seeing a big shift. Next slide. And so what's really needed is we need to ensure that we have these automated visible workflows across your entire tech stack, connected to all of your content systems as well as all of your translation tools. And then having those systems in place where they can be manual or automated. So based on content types or potentially quality, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But then, as I mentioned, we need to ensure that there's no hidden fees. Hey, if I sign up to use a solution at scale, and I'm talking like Fortune 100 companies here, guys, right? I need to ensure that it's not going to break the bank and I'm not going to have any internal problems. And again, just like ensuring that you have visibility for any downstream implications. And this could be using an LLM for one of those simple tasks. Again, could be translating content, but as we know, LLMs can be a bit creative sometimes hallucinate, and they can introduce risks if you don't have the proper governance in place, i.e. linguists or internal resources, ensuring that that quality of that content is suitable before it goes live. Next slide. Again, no holistic solution. Next slide here. And so as an example, what I'm alluding to, on the left-hand side, what we like to call here at Welocalize is a walled garden. In this slide, I really want to state is really representative of what our customers have to say and how we're approaching and what we've done to solve this problem. Most customers, they say they sign up with a provider, even a tech provider, an LSP, they're stuck using, say, the neural MT engines that, that provider is offering, the AI because, or the LM in this case, because that's the vendor's contract with that frontier lab. Or again, like, leveraging a cat tool or even just having that data locked up. One of the biggest things, though, funny enough, is like, hey guys, can you like integrate leveraging your AI tech into our internal system? And as we know, some of the companies and tech providers in our industry simply won't allow for those integrations. So our customers are starting to feel a little trapped. So the ideal approach from our perspective, and again, reinforced by what our customers have to say, is allowing this open architecture system to allow AI to connect to your individual content hubs, your tech stack, if you will, being able to capture data within the localization process in a really specific way. Because a lot of AI these days relies on reinforcement learning. That's the practice, if you will, of the linguist makes an edit. Why did they make the edit? And can I leverage that data to improve our LLM-based systems at scale? But then most importantly, when it comes to an LLM, how do I not get trapped into one provider? How can I ensure, and especially when we see this in the market all the time, at the pace in which AI is changing and improving, how can I ensure that I can adapt to that change, right? And then most importantly, companies are starting to experiment a lot internally. They're starting to build. And what's really valuable, and I just mentioned this, that's the data that they've been accumulating. Historically, that was translation memory. There's different flavors of this being slowly introduced. And customers are starting to want to have real-time access to this data so their internal teams can start building out internal solutions. If we go to the next slide, I'll just dive a little bit deeper into these components. And keep in mind, we have this built today. We call this Opal. I do not know why I didn't put it in this slide, so I'm just gonna, a little gentle plug there. But as I mentioned, your tech stack, your content. What does this mean? Having an MCP or an API library of connectors. In the world of AI, building out connectors is so addressable. And in the past, and what we've seen, some companies will charge tens of thousands of dollars. That's just not scalable. And typically, from a budgetary standpoint, customers will simply choose not to submit content due to the associated cost of infrastructure. And then what we have is this open orchestration layer. What I mean by that is we have a patent for quality estimation, for instance. So as content comes through our system, we leverage neural MT. We then have an LLM that's doing automated post editing in the form of AIPE. But then most importantly, we leverage quality estimation, an LLM that's operating as a filter to decide if the quality is good or bad, if there's risk that's being introduced. And this allows you to start introducing efficiency and automation at scale. But then most importantly, can I just dump a bunch of content, have you guys do a content type analysis, and then route that content to where it needs to go? And then we get back into the models being leveraged to execute the tasks that I mentioned. We leverage a model garden approach. And what that means is we do periodic benchmarking as new models are being introduced. So as our customers are leveraging our solution, they can ensure that they have the best LLM performing a task on a per language, per content type basis. The benefit of that as well is we have customers that say, hey, we do have an exclusive agreement with this frontier lab. Can we only leverage those LLMs? Not a problem, right? So in other words, what we're looking at is flexibility and freedom to accommodate all of our customer needs, but also ensure performance. And then last but not least, how do we make that data available? So as their teams are leveraging internal reg infrastructure, especially with the introduction of, say, content generation, which is a little new to our industry, if you will, they want to leverage this best in industry approach of being able to get the same insights we're leveraging for localization when they're going, a little bit farther, I guess you could say upstream, to start generating content in those markets. So again, this is really important. We're finding, and the reason that we did this is there's no lock-in for a customer. They're not trapped. They can come in, they can leverage any model, they can have all the connectivity they need, but then most importantly, they can have real-time access to multiple data types. And then again, that best AI, this has been a really big game changer for us. We literally do a benchmark, we'll update a model, we inform the customer of what we're doing, again, just to ensure that compliance, but they're always getting the performance. It fits the stack. We're not running into issues anymore as it relates to connectivity because we've committed to our customers. We're open to connecting to any system that they have to be able to route that content via an AI localization pipeline so they can truly achieve the goals that they need to achieve within their budgetary constraints. And then again, this is just empowering that end user / customer to achieve kind of what the market's demanding of them. We see layoffs, we see all these different things, and upper management or the board, they're simply saying like, why aren't you guys just using an LM for localization? And obviously we know why that's not a valuable out of the box use case, but nonetheless, we need to create infrastructure that empowers these local buyers to have that control and to justify their decisions moving forward. So one more slide. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to jump in. We want to get in some questions. So, this is exciting stuff. Let's maybe hit a couple of questions if that's okay with you. Jörg?
I can kick it off. Thank you very much, Kincaid. Very interesting, resonates with what I am doing. And it seems to me you're very good at gardening as well. I do want to open the Q&A here. So imagine a small team knocks on your door, limited budget, limited engineering capacity, a huge tech legacy, cumbersome processes to hire a new vendor or implement a new tool. How do you advise those guys on the implementation of orchestration? How do you open the conversation?
As it relates to me as the individual or our company solving that problem for them as like a new LSP, would that be the perspective?
It could be the perspective, yeah.
Yeah, within that, so the cool thing is with our initial solution, what we've done is we initially introduced simply the localization layer. So no different how we'd look at a neural MT solution in the past. And what we've done is we've made it accessible via all the major TMS systems, as well as via MCP, via partnership with Claude. So in other words, we give them the easiest path to entry to leveraging the most in our opinion, cost efficient, high quality solution that's available, right? So that's typically where we start. We get the localization solution in place. They start facilitating that content. From there, we then expand upon like goals and objectives. Like, hey, if you're doing international business and you're a small team, what is the most addressable market for you to generate revenue? And what is the content as well as the technology where that content's stored? And that's where we then get into the connectivity and the orchestration. The cool thing with quality estimation, though, right? This AI, I guess you could say facilitation mechanism is, hey, if you have internal tech content like tech docs, something like that, we can go ahead and route it so there's not a human in the loop, still capture that quality. But let's talk about marketing where you're going to carry some risk. Quality estimation will actually come in. It'll lock anything that's really high quality, low risk, and anything that needs to be addressed is directly routed to the linguist. Linguist has visibility the whole time, so does the customer. So in other words, what we do is, again, it's like a crawl, walk, run methodology from a cost perspective, but it allows them to slowly add additional content types and work streams without carrying any risk because they're able to manage that cost as well as the quality as they're doing so. Versus black box, send it over, great, it's human quality, it's all one cost. This allows them to kind of pick and choose the journey based on those objectives.
Excellent.
Got it.
Thank you very much, Kincaid. That's all we have time for. If people have questions, by the way, just put them in the chat, and Kincaid and other innovators, I'm sure, will be happy to answer them. Thanks a million.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.